Yeah, we'll have no internet, but okay. So should we, are you beginning to record, Di?
Okay, yep. We're
this-
recording right now.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you very much.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and read the script right now.
Sure.
This open meeting of the Board of Selectmen Interview Committee is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, the town of Northborough has been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. All members of the Board of Selectmen Interview Committee are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows Board of Selectmen Interview Committee to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the posted agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law, and this meeting will not feature public comment. Board of Selectmen Interview Committee members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Selectman Leslie Ratian.
Present?
Selectman Tim Kalin.
Present.
Okay. So are you ready to bring in the first applicant?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Yep.
Hi, Jean, if you could unmute yourself, please. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, let me know if you need anything.
Thank you.
Thanks, Di.
Hi, Jane. How are you? I'm Leslie Ratian, Board of Selectmen.
Hi, Leslie.
Hi,
Nice to
Jean.
meet you.
Hi, Gene. Tim Canlon with the Board of Selectmen.
Hi, Tim. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Pretty well. Pretty well.
Thank you very much for being here. And sorry, we are running late because of technical difficulties on my end, unfortunately. So I am on my phone. So hopefully it comes through clearly enough.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
Okay, great. Well, we
We're all
thank,
learning the Zoom world.
yes, exactly.
A whole new environment. I've been helping my kindergarten grandson with virtual learning in kindergarten, so I'm getting to be quite the kindergartner. So
Did you learn anything new?
surprisingly, I do. I know how smart he is, for one thing.
Now you're missed. So thank you very much for taking the time to meet with us this evening. We're probably going to have to keep this interview to pretty much 5 minutes or so because of the fact that we are running a bit behind, 5 or 6 minutes or so. So I apologize for
Okay,
that.
I understand.
But if you could tell us about yourself and anything about your background, because we have your application here, but the viewing audience does not. So if you could
Well,
talk about yourself, your background, and why you are applying for this position.
I'm a retired urban and environmental planner. I worked for the city of Newton for about 13 years after graduate school. And then I went to work for a consulting company, Parsons Engineering. I did environmental planning and permitting and GIS and database management for them for about 15 years. Then I finished my career in the city of Framingham, where I worked in the community economic development department As I look at the press release and the 6 bulleted items that were identified as the charge to the implementation committee, I could speak to my experience in all 6 of them. I think the most relevant experience is some of the most recent I had. Before I left Framingham, I was the project manager on the update of the open space and recreation plan. And I was also the project manager in 2007 for the housing plan in Framingham. And then in 2014, I did an update to the housing plan that included an update to the action items and a status report on what had and had not been accomplished in those intervening 7 years. Both of those projects require collaboration, which is the second bulleted point in the charge. Planning really is collaboration. We have very little, as planners, regulatory authority or statutory requirements. It requires working with the various departments to get things done. I've had experience working and setting up programs with the Framingham Housing Authority, working jointly with the Department of Public Works to design and complete a bicycle plan, the Constituent Rail Trail plan, and also the bikeway itself. I work with Parks and Recreation on the open space plan updates. Going down that list, plenty of zoning experience with the Framingham Planning Board, as well as my experience in Newton. I was involved in zoning recodifications, writing zoning bylaws from scratch to implement some of the master plan recommendations in Framingham, and generally have general knowledge of zoning and the zoning process. I was zoning board administrator, for example, in Framingham. And so I think I have the experience that the implementation committee could use in terms of being a planning resource. I've never worked with Kathy Joubert. I know her. We would talk at various planning conferences when we would run into each other. So I do know Kathy as well as, some of the other. In fact, if Debbie Grant Pietro is still Kathy's administrative assistant, she actually worked for me in Framingham before she left and came to Northborough. So I know Debbie as well. And the reason I've applied, Selectman Jason Perot is a neighbor, and seeing him from time to time and discussing town issues, he mentioned this volunteer opportunity, so I thought I'd submit my application.
Wonderful. You have a lot of great background, that's for sure. You've been busy. Wow.
And the one thing I didn't miss, or I haven't missed since my retirement, are all the night meetings.
Yeah.
As you both can well imagine. So I've stayed away from that aspect of it. But I think with something like this, I can certainly be of assistance.
Do you have any questions for us?
No, I think it seems pretty straightforward. The Selectmen sponsored implementation committee that's multi-departmental, which I think is key to making sure a broad range of the plan's recommendations are accomplished. I would rely a lot on the knowledge of the various department representatives, planning board, DPW, open space. They're the ones that really drive a lot of the work to get these things done. And the fact that the Selectmen have gone ahead to establish an implementation committee so quickly after the master plan was adopted is just testament of the seriousness that you take this, and having the Selectmen overseeing this type of an effort I think is also important in terms of getting a final resolution to some of the recommendations.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah,
would assume you're all wholeheartedly behind the master plan and looking forward to the next phase.
yes.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, so just from a time commitment standpoint, the Master Plan Implementation Committee will probably meet once a month to begin with. And then as we start to get into the details, there could be special projects and meetings with public and that sort of thing that could require a couple more nights over the course of a month. So, but I'm sure you're familiar with the evening meetings and the amount of time that it takes in order to see this type of project through.
And I would assume those meetings would be remote and virtual for the
Yes.
foreseeable future.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
It's certainly something I think I could fit that schedule into my busy schedule with my grandson in kindergarten. So I think
I don't want to interfere.
It's certainly doable.
I don't want to interfere with your homework. I just want to make sure that.
Forget the two.
No, it's his homework. That was the first conversation we had.
Well, that sounds great, Gene. Seriously, wonderful background. Thank you very much for going through all your work experience and so forth. Is very applicable here. And Tim has gone over the meeting situation, what he envisions it being. So unless you have any other questions, we'll probably have to close off for now.
No, that's fine. I understand you have a tight schedule this evening.
Yeah, and apparently someone needs to use this particular Zoom account at about 6:50, so we're under definite constraint here. So.
Okay. I appreciate you giving me the time.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. And we will be deliberating at the end of this meeting, actually, and putting together a motion for our next selectmen's meeting, which takes place on December 21st.
Okay, I understand.
So
thank you.
thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Gene.
Nice meeting you.
Nice
Bye-bye.
meeting you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, I'm going to bring in Michael.
Yes. Is
Okay.
that okay, Tim?
Yeah.
If you can unmute, Michael.
Yeah, you could probably hear me better if I do that, huh?
There you go. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. How you doing?
Hi, Michael. Do you go by Michael or Mike?
Michael.
You're Michael. Okay.
Thanks for asking.
Okay. I'm Leslie Rattan, Board of Selectmen.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, Michael. Tim Kalin with the Board of Selectmen.
Hey, Tim. I apologize. I don't know anyone, but I've lived in town for a long time. So
It's okay.
Well-
Population almost 50,000. It's hard to know everybody. And I
absolutely.
apologize, we're running behind schedule this evening. Unfortunately, we're going to need to keep this to probably about 5 minutes. I had technical
Sure.
difficulties at the beginning, and then there needs to be another, someone else is going to be using the Zoom account at 6:50.
That's
So,
fine. You know,
I apologize for that.
happy to fill in any details I can.
Okay, that'd be great. We have your application here. And for the sake of the viewing audience, could you provide your background?
Sure.
Just tell us about yourself.
Yeah, Michael Burnsweig. I've lived in town since 95. My wife and I live on right near the high school. We've been here. We built our house when we first moved to town. We have 2 daughters, and they're both one's in Peasley and one's in Milliken. Really just looking at, obviously, I know everyone's put a lot of effort into getting the plan together. Just happy to help implement. I have a business in the local area. We have one of the largest hobby internet companies in the country. So I manage quite a lot in terms of different projects and things like that with the business and all of that. Went to Babson and Wellesley, so I've been in the area graduated with a couple of degrees there. Really just happy to help out however I can, getting things, from concept to reality. Obviously, it's better for everyone in town if we can kind of push things in a positive direction, and I think stay one step ahead of all the growth, and making sure we kind of channel it in a positive direction for the whole town.
Mhm. Mhm.
I think the town has grown up a little bit in the 15 years I've been here, and obviously a lot of the ideas and structure, certain things were in place and other things are, part of this new plan, and it's really just getting it over the line. So
Yeah.
happy to help out.
Could you tell us why you applied for this particular position and what you would like to see it, or what you envision seeing accomplished in the first few months or half a year?
Sure. I'll be honest with you. I didn't have a lot of preconceptions. I mean, I know that a lot of people have worked on putting the plan together and getting all the details together. And I think the biggest part is just, people within the community. It's frustrating because, there's so many wonderful resources in the community and so many people, but I think a lot of times, people stay on the sidelines and don't jump in with both feet to help out on different things. And I think I have some skills I can assist with, and hopefully be of help. I think my biggest thing is just seeing the town be able to grow up and get things to where everybody wants it to get to, in terms of, I mean, the town has come a long ways, and I think that at the end of the day, I think we've got some major major opportunities, and I think there's just not enough resources, is the feeling I get, just not enough people jumping in to help out. So hopefully I can lend a hand, but I'm not really sure that I have any, specifics in terms of being able to say, I'd like to see this happen or that happen. But I mean, I think it's all kind of already been laid out. So I think it's just a matter of getting the I's dotted and the T's crossed and getting everything to where it needs to be.
Mhm, mhm. Tim, you want to maybe go over what you assume will happen in terms of a meeting schedule?
Yeah, I think to start, the implementation committee will probably be meeting once a month in the evenings.
Okay.
And then as we get into more of a routine, I would assume that there'll be special projects, even meetings with the public input sessions, those sorts of things. That, in a given month, that we may have 1, 2, 3 meetings in a given month.
Right.
But they'll all be in the evening. So just so you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think from my end, I think what I bring to the table is really project management, logistics, working with a lot of different stakeholders, and within this organization and other projects I've worked on. So hopefully that is kind of relevant to what you need. Distribution, is really my background. So
Yeah.
different projects like that. I know there's a lot of new businesses and opportunities there. So hopefully I can lend a knowledgeable, bit of advice, as we approach different opportunities. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big project, so it's.
I think it's great to
it's
have, a lot of different people with different skill sets, probably.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with that more. Did you have any questions for us?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you asked. I mean, my major question was, in terms of when meetings would be, how many people would be involved in the different within this committee, and how the committee reports to the different groups within the planning board and all of that. Just like where I would sit, like.
Yeah, all the various boards in town will have one person from the boards and committees on the implementation committee,
Okay.
along with 6 residents.
Got it.
So, as we have the meetings, each board or major board or committee will be represented in the implementation committee. And then as we start to make recommendations, those people will take it back to their boards for official consideration at those boards. And they'll consider the details.
So this is kind of at the second phase, kind of like the plan is there and now it's just getting it into reality. Is that pretty much?
Correct.
Okay.
So this is just an advisory committee. We don't have any regulatory authority.
Sure.
It's just how to prioritize what's in the master plan, because it is quite a significant.
Yeah, I looked. There's a lot to it. I mean, so it's really just a matter of getting all the stakeholders, everybody's thoughts represented. Is that pretty much? Okay.
Yep.
Right.
And
Exactly.
how long a stretch do you envision from where we're at to obviously getting everything implemented, but how long a journey are we looking at?
The implementation committee itself or the master plan itself could take 10 or 15 years to get everything implemented. There's some very, one of the big things in there is revitalizing downtown. And that doesn't take, a couple of weekends. That's probably a decade long.
Sure. But I mean, like this board, like that I'm volunteering for, is this a couple of years? Is this many years? Is this 6 months or a year? How, I don't know what you envisioned.
It will probably be the way that most committees are set up is that the appointments are for 3 years, but since this is a new committee, they'll be staggered. So there'll be a couple of people on for 1, a couple of people on for 2, and a couple of people on for 3.
Okay. I mean, I've been around for 15 years, so I've got time, so not a big deal, but just kind of curious. That was my question. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we have a couple more people to interview this evening, and then we're deliberating at the end of this meeting and then making a recommendation for our next Board of Selectmen meeting on the 21st.
All right, great. Well, appreciate the time and wish you well. If you have other questions, obviously you've got my email. You can shoot me any questions.
Thank you so much.
All right, great.
All right, take care, everyone.
Thank you, Michael. It was nice meeting you.
Have a good one. Bye.
Thank you. You too. Thank you.
Okay, ready for Judy? All right, you ready for Judy?
Yes.
Okay. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Judy. Leslie Rutan, how are you doing?
Hi, Leslie. I'm great.
Hi, Judy. Tim Canlon with the Board of Selectmen.
Hi, Tim.
How are you?
I'm good. I don't know that we've met before. Leslie and I go back, 20 years or so. When our kids were little at Lincoln Street School.
Yeah.
Little kids, yeah. And by the way, we apologize for running late. I had technical difficulties on this end, and someone needs to use this Zoom account at 6:50. So we're kind of under a tight constraints here. So it may be we have about 5 minutes or so. If that's okay, we apologize for that.
Yeah, no apologies necessary. We're doing the best we can, everybody.
Thank you.
Rolling with it.
Yeah, if you could tell us about yourself. We have your application here, and obviously the viewing audience does not have it. So if you could share something about your background and tell us about yourself.
Sure. I moved to Northborough in 2005 with my husband and my 2 kids who have gone through the Northborough school system. My husband and I left a community that was not fiscally responsible, and we changed our order of priorities. So when we selected Northborough as a community, some of the factors that were really important to us were positive fiscal management, a demonstrated history of that, a strong public school system, a sense of community, lots of recreation, indoor and outdoor, support of residents of all ages. So pretty much in that order. And then we moved here, and the best way to take advantage of all that, my husband and I felt, was to immerse ourselves in the community. We did that through our church, St. Bernadette's. I've been a religious education teacher. We did that through coaching the youth in the community, sometimes our children, sometimes, others. Really tapping into everything that was possible, community events. So that was our personal reason. Those are our personal reasons for coming to Northborough, and Northborough has never disappointed. Along the way, I became a local real estate agent a few years after I moved to town. I was always so proud to be able to speak about a community in which I live and speak from the heart, because that's who I am. I can't sell something I don't believe in. As time has, and I'm speaking, I do cover other towns besides Northborough, but actually I'd like to back up for 1 second. I was talking about, immersing ourselves in the community. I love to volunteer, but I only volunteer when it feels good. The one thing that has been a steady for the last about 15 years has been the Neighbor Brigade, a nonprofit charitable organization here in town that supports our own with neighbors helping neighbors. Cliche, but that's what we do. When a family has fallen upon temporary crisis, they can reach out to us, and my co-leaders and I have two. We mobilize we have almost 100 volunteers in town here that are ready to help with food delivery, meal delivery, rides, things like that. What does the family need on a short-term basis to help them get through this temporary crisis? That's very near and dear to me. I love the Neighbor Brigade. But I have a little pocket of time where, I feel like I can give a little bit more, and I am not into politics. So no, any type of, no offense, I'm non-confrontational. I keep my political views to myself. When this position came up, I said, let me look into this. Now I'm going to circle back to being a real estate agent. I'm not really a salesperson. I help people find quality of life through real estate, and that's how I approach my business. Again, I'm not a confrontational person. So you haven't asked the question yet, and I feel like I'm transitioning myself into why I'm applying. That's a little bit about me. So if I very, volunteer based, and this is the next, this is something that intrigues me, coming on to the master plan implementation committee. And I'm going to stop there and see if you have questions, because that's a little bit about me. And, you can ask me the questions you need to for this role, if that's okay, if that makes sense, or I'll keep going.
Great background, and you do a lot for the community, and thank you very much for all that you do.
I'm glad to.
Maybe Tim, if you would like to just go over like what you think assume the meeting schedule might be like.
Yeah, so I think to start with, I think that the committee will probably be meeting once a month in the evenings. And then as we start to get into some of the details of the charge of the committee, we could, have other subcommittees, special projects, meetings with the public, those sorts of things that come up over the course. And we may meet 2 or 3 times a month in a given month. So it's not an enormous time commitment, but it will require meeting a couple times a month.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we only have a couple more minutes, unfortunately. We can kind of gab on for a while. It's hard with this shorter period of time, but do you have any other questions about the committee mission or anything like that, Judy?
Not about the mission, because I've read it. I've read it many, many times, and I had prepared for, you know, the tough interview questions. If you had any for me about why I am making this again, when I volunteer for something, it's not on a whim. It's something that has to feel good to me, and I have to identify for myself a way that I can make a difference. And, you know, I do have some concerns here in town, and, you know, I do feel that the way to affect a change is to get involved. You know, if you know, if you do have any of those tough interview questions for me, I might be prepared to answer them, but, you know, or if you want to know what any of my concerns are, or if that's not really part of the discussion at this point.
Yeah, no, we're not really discussing that. We are trying to keep the questions consistent with everybody, pretty much, you know, state your background, go over what your interests are, and, you know, why you're interested in this particular committee, and going over the meeting schedule, making sure that you'd be available for night meetings. Other than that, in terms of, you know, your own concerns and that kind of thing, it's hard to get into that because, you know, we don't want any of those kind of things to weigh in on our decision as far as who we bring onto the committee. We don't want to
Okay.
on, well, Judy feels, you know, that A and B are important and someone else feels C and D are. So we're going to take, you know, we don't really want to get into that.
Okay.
We want to, you know, talk about, you know, you, which we've heard of, and yeah, just find out why you had applied and so forth. And I think you've done well. So I think we're kind of at the end here. Otherwise, we're going to be under a time constraint because we
Go
have
right
to
ahead.
end to and make a motion and preparation for our December 21st Board of Selectmen meeting.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you both for having me on, and good luck.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Judy,
Judy.
for your time. Thank you for applying.
All right.
And
Bye.
thank you for your work in town.
Alrighty. And last is Rick Leaf. You ready?
Yes.
Alrighty.
Is this 6:50 a strict cutoff?
It's very strict.
You bet.
6:55
6:55.
is absolutely, we have to be done or we're going to get kicked out.
Okay, I'm trying.
All right, you're doing good.
Thank you.
Hi,
Thanks,
Rick.
guys.
Hey, Frank. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Rick.
Hello.
Hey, Rick, how you doing?
Good. Hey, Tim. How are you?
I'm good. Good to see you.
Nice to see you, Rick. We are under a time constraint, unfortunately, and part of it is my fault because I had technical difficulties at the beginning, which is why I'm using my phone and not the computer.
All right.
It was Tim's great idea. He said, try your phone. It was a rough for a few minutes. I was really sweating it out over here.
No.
But so we only have like 5 minutes pretty much. So we wanted to find out from you. We do have your application, but for the viewing audience, if you could tell us something about yourself and why you are applying for this.
Yeah. So basically, I've sort of been involved for years and years, you know, with the town. I was on the Recreation Commission. I was on the Planning Board. And I was on the Master Plan Implementation, the Master Plan Steering Committee. I was the vice chair working with Fran and Baxter and Kathy Jubert on that. And, you know, basically I have had a lot of experience in town. I know what's going on. I'm interested in making sure that the town continues to roll out and develop in a good manner. And I just want to see this thing through. So after having spent, you know, the better part of a year on the steering committee, just thought this was a good opportunity to stay involved with the project and help steer it, you know, going forward, you know, working with the different departments and department heads and, you know, people in town, most of whom I know and I've worked with for years kind of thing. So that's my main interest, is just to take what we did in the steering committee and just keep moving it forward.
And you have a lot of, in addition, you're the treasurer of the Northborough Affordable Housing. So our board hears from you occasionally about that too. So you have a lot of different perspective and a lot of different experience in terms of what is going on in our community.
Yep.
Thank you for that.
Yep.
Do you have any questions of us? And maybe Tim could explain the meeting format at this point, how he envisions meetings being set up.
Yeah, why don't you explain that to me? Yeah.
Well, you've been through the master plan process, so just that, but again.
Yeah.
I would think it's probably meetings to start with once a month. And then, much like the master plan, once we start getting into it, probably expanding the time commitment on a monthly basis to once or twice a month. If there's, necessary input from public and public sessions and those sorts of things. So, once or twice a month in the evenings.
So my last understanding was this is going to be a committee of 15 people. Is that still basically the size of the committee that we're going for? I think, were there like 6 or 7 people from the general population and then people representing all the different boards and commissions? Is 15 the right number at this point?
Yeah, so there'll be 6 people from the residents, 6 residents, and then Leslie, is it, to be honest with you, I can't, is it 15 or?
I have it.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry.
It's-
Go ahead, Di.
It's 13.
13.
13.
And there'll be a member from Board of Selectmen, Financial Planning, Planning Board, Historic District Commission, Parks and Rec, Open Space, and Council on Aging, and then the 6 citizens at large.
Okay.
So that will be the makeup of that, and that's definitely going to be the final makeup of that.
And when do we think the committee will actually launch?
Well, first of all, we're finished. You're our last interview, actually. Then we're going to deliberate, and then we'll bring a motion forward at our next selectmen's meeting on December 21st. And then, Tim, I don't know, what do you envision in terms of start?
Probably January or the beginning of February.
Okay. It'd be interesting to see with 13 people how effective the thing will progress as a virtual kind of exercise. That many people, getting everybody around the table will be very helpful, but that's obviously going to be impossible, for some period of time. So doing it virtually will present its own challenges.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So do you have any other questions of us? We unfortunately have to end the interview because we have to begin deliberating because someone else is using the account at 6:55. So I am so sorry about having to rush you through, but is there anything else you wanted to add, Rick?
No, like I said, I've been involved with this since the steering committee. So, I'm interested in seeing it forward. So if you guys feel I can be helpful and work on the committee, I'm more than willing to do it. Whatever you guys decide is fine with me.
Okay. Well, we really appreciate it. We appreciate your time and all the things that you do in town. You're an invaluable resource, quite frankly. And we appreciate you applying and taking the time tonight to interview with us. So this is live streaming, so you'll be able to watch the deliberation if you'd like to after your interview here.
So you're going to decide tonight?
Yes, we're going to put together a motion that would then be voted on at our next meeting, selectmen's meeting.
If I decide not to watch the rest, will I be notified if I'm selected somehow?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, good.
Okay. Thank you so much, Rick. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Rick.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, so we have about 8 minutes. So, okay. And now we begin the deliberation portion of our meeting. So we can get a motion put together for our selectmen's meetings as we have said to each of the candidates we've interviewed.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that both Selectman Rutan and myself have enjoyed interviewing and hearing the experiences from everybody that has applied. I think everybody would be more than suitable for the Master Plan Implementation Committee. And it's always great to have people apply to donate their time to the community, which is always great to see. The great thing with this implementation committee is it's really about the community. It's not about the individual. It's really about putting together a committee that really wants to see the entire community do well and benefit from all the work that went into the master plan. So I think that's a really important aspect of that. Leslie, is there anything that you wanted to add to that?
Well, I just want to see back over all our interviews over the last couple of months, and we've interviewed a total of, let's see, is it 18 plus 9? So 27 people between the diversity and inclusion and this, and we've met some fantastic people. And I would echo what Tim just said, which is everybody on these sheets is qualified. Everybody brings their own perspective and frame of reference. So we do want everyone to know that we appreciate it very much. And if anyone on these lists is not selected for this particular committee, please look online at the town website and see if there are other committee openings that you might be interested in. I hate saying no to people, and I hate losing good volunteers. So if there's something you could consider, we would appreciate that. So we have about 5 minutes. So
Leslie, I've got some recommendations for some people. Just want to get what your thoughts are.
Okay.
I really think Fran Backstrom should be on the committee. I think with her experience, her involvement in the master plan steering committee, and just her overall knowledge of all the various boards and committees in town would be invaluable for this type of project that the implementation committee would need to take on.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think she'd be super. She has so much experience, and I do think that bottom line is if we can gather people who have experience and knowledge and expertise in a lot of different areas, I think that this plan has a shot of being successful. There's so many components to it that we need that kind of experience.
Yeah, and I think the same thing for Rick Leaf.
Yes.
That with his work on the master plan committee already and his knowledge of his intimate knowledge of what the town is trying to do will be invaluable for the implementation committee.
Yes, I agree. I would also like to add John Campbell to that list. He is a very collaborative individual. He's had to work with a lot of different groups who are part of the Community Preservation Committee. He has a wonderful knowledge, obviously, of the CPA, the state-run program, and he just has so much experience with that, open space and so forth, that I think he would be a very valuable asset on a committee like this. So I would also recommend John Campbell as well.
All right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. His experience with the open space, I think, will be an important part. It is an important part of the master plan. So, did you have anybody else in mind?
I would love to see Gene Kennedy. Gene Kennedy, he did a great job explaining everybody did really explain their background very, very well. And I think everybody's very proud of their backgrounds, but he did a superior job as well. And with all of his work on zoning, recodification, zoning board administrator, he had to collaborate with many departments, retired urban planning. Let's see, I think he said Newton. This is from memory.
Newton.
Yeah, and then Framingham open space and housing. He's just had a lot of very appropriate experience for a committee like this, and would have, I think, a lot to lend.
Yeah, I think it's great too that he'd be somebody that hasn't served on any other boards or committees, have somebody new involved in the process too. So I think that would be great.
Okay, we're gonna have to zip through this because we need to put the motion together too in 2 minutes, Di.
I've got it here, so, well,
Okay,
it's just without the names, but,
okay.
and anybody else that you had in mind?
I would love to see Jean Cahill. I think that she's a very community-minded individual. She ran for state rep, was a huge organizer of the plastic bag ban in town. She's very community-minded, thinks of the whole community, not just one particular thing, very environmentally oriented and has interest in conservation. So I'd like to recommend Jean Cahill.
Yeah, I think Jean makes a lot of sense. She was involved in the Save Bartlett project in that whole citizens movement too. So
Right,
you know,
right.
she'll have some perspective on that, which will be very helpful.
Okay. And then we have one more slot.
And I think Dario Damari,
Damari?
I mean, he's a professional master planner.
Yes.
He-
All over the world and all over the country.
billion-dollar project. So I think his expertise in the real world on how to actually implement master plans will be enormously helpful.
Right, and he's a licensed architect, I think he said in 48 or 49 states. So I think, you know, that's another thing we're looking at here as well, in terms of the citizens at large positions. So, okay, 6:55, we better put a motion together. Tim, do you have a motion there?
I make a motion that the Board of Selectmen interview subcommittee recommend for the Master Plan Implementation Committee for M. Baxtron, Rick Leaf, Jean Cahill, Eugene Kennedy, Dario Damari, and I'm forgetting one.
Is it John Campbell?
John Campbell, yes, and John Campbell.
Okay, I second that.
Any discussion?
Nothing further from me except to thank everyone for volunteering and be willing to volunteer and apply for these positions. Please.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Great night.
Thank you very much, Di.
Bye.
Take care. Thank you.